For over 1,000 years, Constantinople stood unconquered, the jewel of the East, a city of wealth, faith, and unbreakable walls. Empires rose and fell around it, but the city endured until the year 1453, when destiny finally came knocking. From the east marched a young sultan, Mehmed II, ambitious, relentless, and driven by a vision to claim the greatest city in the world.
Let this city fall by my hand, not for pride, but for destiny.
With him came an army unlike any before it, and cannons powerful enough to shake the foundations of history itself. Inside the city, the last emperor, Constantine XI Palaiologos, prepared for the inevitable.
We are not just defending stone, we are defending the last breath of an empire.
His empire was weakened, his allies few, but his resolve remained unbroken. And among the defenders stood a foreign warrior, Giovanni Giustiniani, a soldier of no crown, yet a leader of unmatched courage. He walked the ancient walls not as a mercenary, but as a man who chose to stand where history would be decided. At dawn, the siege began. Cannons roared like thunder. The great walls that had defied centuries trembled under relentless fire. Smoke filled the skies as stone cracked and fell, yet the defenders did not break. Faith carried them. Prayers echoed through the streets and within Hagia Sophia, where the people gathered, hoping for divine deliverance.
Even in darkness, God does not abandon his people.
Day after day, the attacks came. Wave after wave of soldiers crashed against the walls, and each time they were met with steel and fire. Giustiniani fought at the front lines, rallying men, sealing breaches, turning despair into defiance. Beside him, Emperor Constantine fought not as a ruler, but as a soldier among his people. But not all threats came from beyond the walls. In the shadows, doubt and bitterness grew.
Was there God when my family burned?
A man, broken by loss and disillusionment, made a choice that would echo through history. Under the cover of night, a hidden gate was opened. The enemy slipped inside. Chaos followed. The city, once secure, was no longer untouchable. Still, it did not fall. Not yet. The siege dragged on, each day more brutal than the last. Hunger spread, fires consumed entire districts, yet both sides held fast to faith, one praying for deliverance, the other for victory. Even the conqueror himself could not ignore the courage before him, because no wall, no matter how strong, can stand forever against time and iron. Then came the final assault. The ground shook as cannons unleashed their fury. The walls, scarred and weakened, finally began to collapse. The defenders gathered for one last stand, knowing there would be no tomorrow. At the heart of the battle stood Giustiniani, and then he fell. Struck down in the chaos, wounded and unable to stand, he was carried from the walls. And with his fall, something deeper broke within the defenders. The man who had held the line was gone. The gates were overrun. The enemy poured in. Emperor Constantine XI cast aside his royal identity and charged into the battle, choosing death over surrender. He was never seen again. By sunrise, it was over. Constantinople had fallen. Mehmed II entered the city not in celebration, but in silence. Victory was his. But the cost stood all around him, in the ruins, in the echoes of resistance, in the memory of those who refused to yield. The great city would become Istanbul. An empire would vanish. But the story would remain, the story of courage, of faith, of betrayal, of a knight who stood against the fall of a world, and of a city whose final moments would echo through history forever.